Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. As we know, this lesson is about al-mamnu min as-sarf, and in the beginning of the lesson we have discussed everything in detail, and then throughout the lesson we have seen like different categories, and inshallah we will see the rest of the information in Arabic now. ورد في هذا الدرس أمثلة للممنوع من الصرف. In this lesson, we have seen the examples of the nouns that are diptotes. وهو الاسم المعرب, and that is a noun that is mu'rab. What is mu'rab? Basically, we know that there are basically two types of nouns, mu'rab. In mu'rab, we have two categories. One is munsarif and one is غير munsarif. Munsarif, that means it has three forms and three states, like marfu, mansub, and majroor. For example, Muhammadun, Muhammadan, and Muhammadin. And غير munsarif means that a noun does not accept tanween, and it will have in three forms, in three states, it will have two forms. For example, marfu, mansub, and majroor. When we say marfu, for example, Ibrahimu, it is marfu with dhamma, and mansub, as we know, it is mansub with fatha, Ibrahima, and majroor will also be with fatha. So it accepts only two forms in three states. And we can also say that mu'rab is opposite of mabniyun. Mabniyun has only one state, only one form in three states. Marfu'un, mansubun, and majrurun. In three states, it will be only one form, that is, always it will be fixed. For example, Isa marfu, Isa mansub, and Isa majrur. Similarly, Musa and the rest of the nouns, they are called mabniyun. So we can say that mu'rab is opposite of mabniyun. And mu'rab has two types. What are the two types? Mu'rab munsarif and mu'rab ghair munsarif. And that is what we call, which is ghair munsarif, is called al-mamnu min as-sarf. And the second name that the grammarians gave it is called ghair munsarif. وهو الاسم المعرب الذي لا يلحقه التنوين, and it's a noun which does not accept tanween. وهو على نوعين, and it is of two types. نوع يمنع من الصرف لعلة واحدة. One type is ممنوع من الصرف for one reason. إلا means reason. ونوع يمنع لعلتين, and then there is a type that is ممنوع because of, or that is diptote because of two reasons. الممنوع من الصرف لعلة واحدة. So now we will look at the nouns that are غير منصرف, or that are الممنوع من الصرف for one reason. علة واحدة, one reason. هو, that is ما كان مختوما بألف التانيث المقصورة, a noun that ends with ألف التانيث المقصورة, that means the short alif, as we call that, and awil mamduda, and the long alif. And the long alif means after alif we always have hamza. ومن أمثلته, and from its examples, marda. So now we can see that it's the plural of maridun, marda, and it ends with alif maqsura. And now it is mamnu min as-sarf. Wa dunya, what kind of alif is this? Do you remember the name of this alif? Because this is alif maqsura and this is alif mamduda. And what about this alif? Does anyone remember? Al-alif, yeah, or they call it al-alif al-layyina, the soft alif. The Arabic name is al-alif al-layyina. However, we can also call it al-bad at-tabi'i, that is prolonged for 2 seconds. Excellent. Okay. So we have alif maqsura, then we have alif al-layyina, wa hubla, also it is alif maqsura. And you know the meanings, I'm sure, because we discussed in lesson number 1 in English, and all the meanings were explained over there. For example, marda is the plural of maridun, sick. Dunya means the world. Hubla is used for the pregnant lady. Fatawa is the plural of fatwa, which is the Islamic ruling. Hadaya is the plural of hadiyatun, that is gifts. And hubla, fatawa, they end with alif maqsura, and hadaya ends with alif al-layyina. Then we have sahra'u, that ends with alif mamduda. Hamra'u also ends with alif mamduda. Fuqara'u also ends with alif mamduda, and asdiqa'u also ends with alif mamduda. So the nouns that end with alif al-tanith al-maqsura awil mamduda, they are mamnu min as-sarf li'illatin wahidatin, for one reason, and the reason is they end with alif maqsura, or they end with alif mamduda, or alif al-layyina. Number 2, ma kana ala wazni muntahil jumur. And the noun that is on the pattern of ultimate plural, منتهى الجموع, ultimate plural. وهو ما كان على وزني مفاعل ومفاعيل. وزني, it was basically وزناني, وزنيني, وزنيني. And it is وزنين, and because it is used as mudaf, so we can see that after harf jar it will be وزنين, and when it is used as mudaf, then the noon of dual is dropped, so it becomes وزني. وزني مفاعل ومفاعيل. So it is on the pattern of مفاعل and مفاعيل وأشباههما and whatever resembles them. ومن أمثلته, and from its examples, مساجد. So مساجد is on the pattern of مفاعل. Similarly, we have مفاتيح, which is on the pattern of مفاعيل. Excellent. Then we have فنادق, again on the pattern of مفاعل. شواعر, on the same pattern, which is مفاعل. رسائل, also on the same pattern. فناجين, on the pattern of مفاعيل. Okay, cups, the teacups. Then we have أسابيع, which is the plural of أسبوع, that means weeks, also on the pattern of مفاعيل. And ثعابين is the plural of ثعبان, used for a snake, and ثعابين, the snakes. So it is also on the pattern of مفاعيل. So a noun can be ممنوع من الصرف for one reason, if it ends with ألف التانيث المقصورة أو الممدودة, and number two, when it comes on the pattern of منتهى الجموع, that is the ultimate plural, which is two patterns, مفاعل and مفاعيل. وكذلك يمنع من الصرف المفرد الذي على وزن منتهى الجموع. And similarly, وكذلك, and similarly, يمنع من الصرف المفرد, and similarly, a singular noun is also a diptode, الذي على وزن منتهى الجموع, that is on the pattern of, or is it the same? No, I thought it's the same information. Yeah, but we have different examples. ومن أمثلته طماطم, that means tomatoes. وبطاطس, that means potatoes. طباشير, chalks, and سراويل, the pants or the trousers. Okay, so these are singular nouns basically. Yeah. Al-mufrad, so these are singular nouns, but they are, because they are on the pattern of mafa'ilu or mafa'ilu, that's why they are also mamnu min as-sarf. However, they are singular nouns. But the ones that we discussed in the previous example, they are plural nouns. For example, masajidu is the plural of masjidun, masajidu, right? So these are mufrad nouns, singular nouns, but because they are on the pattern of mafa'ilu or mafa'ilu, that's why they are also mamnu min as-sarf, or we call them diptodes. Al-mamnu min as-sarfi li'illataini. Now we will see the nouns that are diptodes for two reasons. وَهُوَ إِمَّا عَلَمٌ, and it is either definite noun, وَإِمَّا صِفَةٌ, or it is an adjective. Alamun, definite noun, the name of a specific person, place, or thing, and sifatun, that means adjective. Al-alamu al-mamnu min as-sarfi. Now we will talk about the definite nouns that are mamnu min as-sarf, and they are mamnu min as-sarf because of two reasons. يمنع العلم من الصرف إذا كان, so a noun is diptode, or it is mamnu min as-sarf if it is يمنع, as we know that this is passive, right? منع يمنع, and then منع يمنع. يمنع العلم من الصرف إذا كان. So a noun is diptode if it is, or it ends with, or if it is مؤنثا, if it is feminine. ومن أمثلته, and from its examples, آمنة وزينب وحمزة. So now if a noun is feminine, for example, Amina, Zainab, and Hamza. What about Hamza? How come it's feminine? Because it ends with ta marbuta. However, it's a masculine name. So the two reasons are, number one, it is definite, and number two, it ends with ta marbuta. إذا كان العلم المؤنث ثلاثيا. But if a feminine noun consists of three letters or three root letters, sakin al-wasati, but the middle or the second root letter is sakin, ka, like Hind, Wadad, Warim, jaz or sarfuhu wa man'uhu. It is permissible to make it triptode or diptode. Wa man'uhu awla, but it is better to make it mamnu min as-sarf. So a noun which is إذا كان العلم المؤنث. So there should be two conditions. Number one, it must be definite, and number two, it should be feminine, and number three, it should be consisting of three root letters. So basically three things. Alam al-muannath basically is one, and then thulathiyan, that means the second condition. So it's a definite feminine name or a noun, and it consists of three letters. And the second root letter If it is sakin, then it can be both. It can be triptot, it can be munsarif, and it can be ghair munsarif. So that means we can read it as Hindu, Da'du, and Rimu, and also Hindun, Da'dun, Warimun, the names of the ladies. However, which one is awla? Which one is better? To treat it as ghair munsarif, al-mamnu min as-sarf. Number two, ajamiyan. A noun has to be definite and then it has to be non-Arabic. So the first one is definite and feminine name, and the second one it is definite and it's non-Arabic name. وَمِنْ أَمْثِلَتِهِ, and from the examples, Ibrahimu wa Pakistanu wa Landanu. So all of these, they are non-Arabic names. That's why they are mamnu min as-sarf. إذا كان العلم الأعجمي ثلاثيا ساكن الوسط. So if a definite noun has three letters and the middle or the second root letter is sakin, mudhakkaran in ansarifa or insarafa. Sorry. So if it is masculine, then it has to be triptot or it has to be munsarif. وَمِنْ أَمْثِلَتِهِ, and from the examples, Nuhun wa Shithun wa Lutun wa Jurjun wa Khanun wa Shahun. So if a noun consists of three letters and it is non-Arabic noun, and the second root letter is sakin, and it is masculine, then it is permissible to make it munsarif, or it will be triptot. For example, Nuhun. So now we can see that Nuh is a masculine name, and the second letter is sakin, and it's masculine. So that's why it is, excuse me. So that's why it is triptot. It is munsarif. Shithun. Does anyone know the meaning of shithun, or does anyone know the word sheath? Name of one of the sons of Adam, Walutun, and Lut alayhi salam. Then we have Jurjun, basically George, and then we have Khanun, family name in Pakistan, India, or Bangladesh or Afghanistan. And Shahun is also a family name that is also very common in subcontinent. أما الثلاثي الساكن الوسطي المؤنث فيمنع. But if it is, it consists, or the noun consists of three root letters, but the second one is sakin and it is feminine, then it is mamnu min as-sarf. فيمنع ومن أمثلته, and from the examples, Balkhu wa Himsu wa Nisu. These are also the names of the cities. For example, Nis, Madinatun fi Fransa, wa Mushu, Madinatun fi Turkiya. So these are the names of the cities. And we know that the names of the cities, or the cities in Arabic, they are feminine. And that's why we can see that the second root letter is sakin. For example, Balkhu wa Himsu wa Nisu, also the second root letter is sakin. Wa Mushu is also sakin. But they are mamnu min as-sarf. What's the main reason behind them? Because they are feminine. And here, what's the main reason behind them? They are masculine. So you see, most of the conditions are the same. They have three root letters. The second root letter is sakin. But the only difference is, if it is masculine, then it is mamnu min as, it's not mamnu min as-sarf, and it's munsarif. And if the second letter is sakin, then most likely it will be mamnu min as-sarf. Ma'dulan. Yes, please.
As well, no, Ustad, if the middle letter is sakin, because in the Quran it is there, right?
Sorry?
We can give them a tanween when the second letter is sakin, right? Because in the Quran we see some exceptions, like it contains a tanween.
You mean it's a feminine name and it's
not feminine, especially Noah and Lut alayhi salam's name.
Ya Nuhun wa Lutun wa Shu'aibun wa Salihun wa Muhammadun. So there are like 6 names of the prophets that are used in the Quran. We, in book 1, we discussed them as exceptions. But now we can see that the reason why they are like mamnu min as-sarf, because they are masculine names, but they consist of 3 letters and the second letter is sakin. So that's the main reason behind that.
Yeah.
So either we can go by that or we can go by this way. However, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, the names of the prophets, when we discussed about the categories, we discussed like 6 names of the prophets. They are mamnu min as-sarf. In fact, they are not mamnu min as-sarf, they are munsarif. They are flexible. Ma'dulan, what's the meaning? Does anyone remember the meaning of ma'dulan? Adala ya'dilu, to do justice. Ma'dulan, justified. That means some justification has been done. Ma'dulan ay kana ala wazni fu'alu, if it's on the pattern of fu'alu, wa min amthilatihi, and from the examples, Umaru. So the grammarians, they say basically the name was Amirun, and from Amirun, the grammarians, they say that it has been like justice has been done to this, and then they have changed it into Umaru. So I would say they call it Madulan, but I would say since it's on the pattern of Fu'alu, that's why it is Mamnu min as-sarf, Fu'alu. Umaru, similarly we have Zufaru, Zuhalu, Hubalu, and Quzahu. So these are the nouns that are on the pattern of Fu'alu, and they are also Mamnu min as-sarf. Makhtuman bi alfin wa nunin zaidataini. The noun that ends with alif nun zaidatain, wa min amthilatihi Marwanu, wa Ramadanu, Shi'banu, and Uthmanu. So we can see that these are masculine names, and they are also mamnu min as-sarf because they end with alif nun. They are definite, all of them, they are definite. Marwan, Ramadan, Sha'ban, and Uthman. Ala wazni fi'lin wa min amthilatihi, or they are on the pattern of past or present tense. For example, Ahmadu is on the pattern of af'alu, and Yazidu is on the pattern of yabi'u. So if they are on the pattern of past tense or the present tense, or we can say if they're on the pattern of af'alu, the most common one is af'alu, and also very few nouns in Arabic that also end with the, like on the pattern of mudari. For example, Yazidu, it's basically Zada Yazidu, right? But since it's the name of the person and it's on the pattern of mudari, that's why it is also mamnu min as-sarf. Murakkaban, tarkibiyan, masjiyan, and then it's a mixed like compound noun. We can say if it's a compound noun, wa min amthilatihi Ma'di, Karibu, wa Hadra Mautu. So it's basically Ma'di and Karibu, and similarly we have Hadra wa Mautu. So it's basically compound noun. So a compound noun which is combination of, for example, Qawsu Quzaha also is compound noun. So a combination of two nouns when they are put together, that is also Mamnu min as-sarf. So the 6 categories, do you remember the first 3? Yes.
Just have to be.
You said it should be feminine, Ustad.
Excellent. Feminine proper names.
Alif
Excellent.
Alif Maksura, Alif Mamduda, Ustad.
That was for one reason, and yeah, we are talking about 2 reasons. Yeah.
2 reasons. Yeah, it should be
2
feminine.
reasons on Alamu.
The second was Ajamiyun.
Ajamiyun, ahsanti. Perfect. Okay.
Then the third one is Ma'adulun.
Ma'dul. Excellent.
Then
And the 4th, 5th, and 6th we have here. Makhtuman bi alifin wa nunin
Alif and Nun
zaidatain.
is extra.
Excellent. And then we have on the pattern
On
of
the version of 5.
the verb, yeah, pattern of the verb, yeah. And then they are compound nouns.
No.
Excellent. All right. So these are, we talked about the definite nouns. Now we will talk about the adjectives. As-sifatu al-mamnuatu min as-sarfi, the adjectives that are also mamnu min as-sarf. Tumna'u as-sifatu min as-sarfi idha kanat. Similarly, an adjective is a diptot if it is idha kanat, if it ends with, or if it is ala wazni af'ala, if it is on the pattern of af'alu, wa min amthilatihi akbaru wa ahsanu wa ahmaru wa asgharu. And there are so many examples of this. So basically, whether it's an adjective or if it's a definite noun, when it comes on the pattern of af'alu, it will be mamnu min as-sarf. For example, akbaru, ahsanu, and ahmaru. These are adjectives, but there are nouns as well, and definite nouns as well, that are on this pattern, and they are also mamnu min as-sarf. وَيُشْتَرَطُ فِيهَا أَلَّا تُؤَنَّثُ بِالتَّاءِ. But there is a condition. There is a condition, وَيُشْتَرَطُ فِيهَا, and it is conditioned, أَلَّا تُؤَنَّثُ بِالتَّاءِ, that it is not made definite, it is not made feminine with ta marbuta. فَإِذَا أُنِّثَتْ بِالتَّاءِ انصرفت. And when it is made feminine with ta marbuta, then it becomes munsarif. Munsarif. For example, armalun. Armalun is on the pattern of af'alu, right? It's on the pattern of af'alu, but it is flexible. It is like, as we say, munsarif. Why it is munsarif? Because فَإِنَّ مُؤَنَّثَهُ أَرْمَلَةٌ, because its feminine is on the pattern of armalatun, yani the feminine accepts ta marbuta. So if a noun is on the pattern of af'alu, but the feminine comes on the pattern of not on the pattern of when it accepts ta marbuta, then it is possible for the noun to be munsarif, and then it will accept tanween. Okay, jaw'an. What's the feminine of jaw'an? Or sha'ban, right? Not shab'an. Yeah. Does anyone remember the feminine of jaw'an? Jaw'a. Jaw'a. So yeah, jaw'a is for the feminine, yeah, and the plural will be ji'a'un. So jaw'a, basically we can see this is, so we can see that for jaw'an, the feminine does not have ta marbuta, right? So that's why jaw'an is mamnu min as-sarf. But armalun is not mamnu min as-sarf because the feminine has ta marbuta. Yeah, all right. So that's what we are supposed to focus on over here. Ala wazni fa'alan, the adjective that is on the pattern of fa'alan, wa min amthilatihi jaw'anu. Yeah, so we can see over here jaw'an, someone who is hungry.
If the feminine takes ta marbuta, then that will become munsarif. Even
that becomes munsarif, exactly. Yeah,
the masculine will become munsarif. Is that?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So here, but jaw'an, as we said, we have seen in the previous part of the lesson that jaw'an, the feminine is jaw'a, so that's why it is mamnu min as-sarf. If it is jaw'anatun, for example, let's say, then that would be fine. Then it will accept tanween. But there is no ta marbuta added to the feminine, so that's why it is mamnu min as-sarf. Similarly, shab'an. Yes, what's the meaning of shab'an?
Being satisfied, something like that.
Shabi'a yashba'u, someone who is full, especially like when the stomach is full. So you say ana shab'an. Yeah, when you like the trolley. Yeah, so that is shab'an. Atshan is thirsty.
Thirsty.
Yeah, and mal'an is
Full.
Full. Excellent. Yeah. So shab'an, when something is full, like when someone's stomach is full, and mal'an is like something when it is full. For example, the trolley, shopping trolley, when you fill it up with groceries and all that. So you say it's full. So mal'an. Then we will say that is something that is full. Mal'anun. We have seen like mala yamlau, and then it is mal'an on the pattern of fa'lan. Then adjective, when adjective is ma'dulatun as well. So because it is sifa, that's why we say ma'dulatun. Or sifatu al-ma'dulatu shay'an. And similarly, when the adjective is justified, and there are two things that we have to discuss about or talk about. Number one, al-adadu alladhi ala waznay fa'al wa maf'al. A number that is on the pattern of fa'al and maf'al, it is also mamnu min as-sarf, but it has to be an adjective. Wa min amthilatihi thulathu wa ruba'u wa mathna wa mathlathu. So we can see here that thulathu wa ruba'u, they are on the pattern of fa'alu, and similarly mathna wa mathlathu, they are on the pattern of maf'alu. Fa thulathu ma'dulatun an thalathata thalathata. So basically it is 3-3, the combination of 3-3, but it is not used as thalathatun thalathatun, it is used as thulathu. So that's why it is mamnu min as-sarf. So a noun or an adjective that comes on the pattern of fa'alu, and also it comes on the pattern of maf'alu, it will also be mamnu min as-sarf. Similarly, kalimatu ukharu. Ukharu is the plural of ukhra. Ukharu is also mamnu min as-sarf because it's on the pattern of maf'alu. So this is these are the conditions for a noun which is ma'dul, and now for an adjective that is ma'dul, and now we will see the ahkam al-mamnu min as-sarf. Yani we will talk about and the rulings of mamnu min as-sarf. So the rulings are al-mamnu min as-sarfi la yunawwanu. So what's the first ruling? Yes, please. Can I
take up the tanween?
Again. It does not.
It doesn't take up the tanween.
Excellent. Yeah, it does not take up the tanween. Nawana, yunawwinu, tanweenan, and yunawwanu is majhul. It is passive. So al-mamnu min as-sarfi la yunawwanu. Al-mamnu min as-sarf or diptot does not accept tanween. Yeah, nunation. Excellent. Wa yujarru bil fathati, and it is made jar or genitive case with fatha. Ma lam yakun mudafan, but there is a condition that it's not mudaf. أو محلا بأل, or it is not decorated with al. فإذا أضيف أو حلي, but when it is used as mudaf or when it is used with al, جر بالكسرة, then it will be made genitive case with kasra. So mamnu min as-sarf, number one, does not accept tanween. And number two, when we talk about majroor, it will be majroor with fatha. However, there are two possibilities that it will accept kasra. And what are those two possibilities? فَإِذَا أُضِيفَ, yeah, when it is used as mudaf, وَحُلِّيَ بِأَل, and when it is decorated with al, jura bil kasrati, then we will make it genitive case or majroor with kasra. Nahwu, for example. Okay, udifa is passive or active?
It's passive.
Passive. Adafa yudifu, and then we say udifa yudafu. Okay. What about hulliya?
It's also passive.
Halla yuhalli tahliyatan, to decorate something. And hulliya yuhalla, that will be the passive. Yeah. So we have both of the examples of the passive of the past tense and the present tense. They have been used in the Quran. Wa hullu asawira wa yuhallawna. So both of them, for the passive of the past tense and the present tense, they have been used in the Quran. The Ahlul Jannah, they will be made to wear like the bangles of fidda,
Bracelets
or bracelets. Yeah. So that will be from there, inshallah, we will see in the example. So this verb is also very beautiful, and we know that a noun that has al with that, so in Arabic we say that it is muhalla bil al, yani it is decorated with al. So now we will look at the examples. Darastu fi madarisa kathiratin. I taught in several schools. Now here madarisa does not have kasra. Why it does not have kasra? Because it is being used as, yeah, it is mawsuf and sifa, so it's being used in the normal condition. So we know that in normal condition it will not accept kasra. But when you say darastu fi madarisil mamlakati, I taught in the institutes of mamlaka, in the kingdom, now it has accepted kasra. Why?
Because it is like
it is being used as mudaf. Madarisil mamlaka, the schools of the kingdom, schools of the kingdom. So when it is being used as mudaf, it accepts kasra. That's the first condition. And the second condition is darastu fi kathirim min al madarisi. Here it is muhalla bi al. It is decorated with al. So when al is added to that, then it also accepts kasra. So these are the two conditions that are very, very important to know, that if a noun is mamnu min as-sarf, but when it has it is used as mudaf, and when it has al, then it will accept kasra.
Many of the new students, they ask this question. They should know, they ask like how it is carrying the kasra, right? In the initial phase of Arabic, we used to ask this question, and then how it is containing a kasra. Then, because in the initial books there is no rule of that, then only in the later books he brings this.
Exactly, that's right. Yes. However, this time in book one, I already informed like all the students and the groups over there, so that instead of reaching book three and all the way waiting for this long time, it's just two small things, right? So if we know that it is being used as mudaf, it accepts kasra, and also we can give some examples from the Quran, which I did. There are so many examples. So if we know this from the beginning, then inshallah it becomes much easier. However, you shouldn't be complaining that you don't know much about mamnu min as-sarf, or you don't know much about the case endings. We have been discussing it from the beginning of the book, so I'm sure inshallah now this is just a review for you. Most of the rules, 95% of the rules you already know, right? Alhamdulillah. Then we have al-manqusu, a noun which is defective noun, min al-jam'i al-mutanahi, but we are talking about the nouns that are ultimate plural. يعامل معاملة المنقوص من المنصرف. They are also treated in the same way as we treat the nouns that are munsarif. For example, فتحذف ياؤه, and its ya is dropped رفعا وجرا when it is used as when it is marfu and when it is majroor. وينون, and then it is given tanween. For example, in book number 2 we learned the word ghalin, that is something expensive, right? Ghalin. We have seen the noun hadin, right? Hadin. So when we say hadin, the one who guides, hada yahdi fahuwa hadin, right? So hadin will be marfu, right? Hadin will be marfu, and also it will be majroor. So when it is mansub, it will be hadiya, right? Hadiya, and when it is
Yeah.
majroor, it will be hadin. So we can see that when a noun is manqus, yani it ends with alif or waw, the third root letter is alif or waw, then the marfu will be with kasratan and majroor will be with kasratan, right? And similarly, if a noun is al-jam'ul mutanahi, or if it is the ultimate plural, the same rule will be applied to a noun which is jam'ul mutanahi. And we can see over here, al-marfu, هذه الكلمة لها معان كثيرة. So here معان is what? It is marfu, right? Marfu, how do we know? If you remember in the previous lesson, we discussed that you can look at the sifa. So from sifa is marfu, that means masuf is also marfu. However, ma'anin is a plural of ma'ana. So ma'ana and ma'anin. So it is on basically on the pattern of mafa'ilu. It was ma'aniyu, and ma'aniyu has changed into ma'anin. So it is basically on the pattern of mafa'ilu, but because it is manqus, that's why the ya has been dropped, as we can see over here. فَتُحْذَفُ يَاؤُهُ, and its waw is dropped. رَفْعًا وَجَرًّا. So when a noun which is manqus, even if it is manqus, but it is on the pattern of mafa'ilu or mafa'ilu, then what happens? The same thing is applicable. The ya gets dropped when it is marfu and when it is majroor, and the ya is replaced with kasratan, as we can see over here, ma'anin kathiratun.
So when we
Al-mansub,
say
yes,
the i'rab, we have to say it is marfu bil ya'i, which is dropped, something like
that,
that.
yeah, al-marfu bil ya al-mahdhufa, that's
Yeah.
right. Then we have al-mansubu, a'rifu ma'aniya kathiratan li hadhihi al-kalimati. Now, when we talk about mansub, the ya comes back, and that's why now we can see that it is marfu with fatha. However, it does not accept tanween because it is on the pattern of mafa'ilu, ma'aniyu, right? Ma'aniyu, ma'aniya, ma'aniya. If we want to make it like this, but that's why we can see that we have fatha over there, but still there is no tanween because it is mamnu min as-sarf. Al-majruru, when it is tusta'malu hadhihi al-kalimatu bima'anin kathiratin, this word is used in several meanings. Now we can see over here that ma'anin is majroor. Why it is majroor? Because of harf jar ba. So here it is majroor, and that's why the sifa we can see is also majroor. So that's the only thing that we need to be a little bit careful about, because we know whenever we have the noun which is manqus or the weak letters, there is always something that will change. We know about that. So that's the only thing that we need to focus on. Whereas when we talk about the nouns that are on the pattern of mafa'ilu and mafa'ilu, and they are regular nouns, they are not defective, then it's very easy to figure out like the i'rab of these nouns. Then it is much easier. استخرج من الدرس الأسماء الممنوعة من الصرف واذكر سبب منع كل واحد منها من الصرف. Now we have done this, alhamdulillah, throughout the lesson. When we discussed the text of the lesson, we have seen that there were so many nouns, and we discussed about all the reasons like why they are mamnu min as-sarf. Similarly, استخرج من الدرس ما جر من الأسماء الممنوعة من الصرف بالكسرة. Now we have to see that it's mamnu min as-sarf, but it has kasra when it is majroor. واذكر السبب, and why it has kasra when it is majroor. What's the reason behind that? أقربائه, مع أقربائه we have seen in the beginning of the lesson. So المجرور بالكسرة بسبب الإضافة. أقربائه, أقرباء is on the pattern of أفعلاء, أفعلاء, right? But when it is being used as mudaf, that's why it has accepted kasra. So where is mudaf ilayh?
The attached.
Yeah, the attached pronoun. So aqribaihi. So ma, because of ma, it has become aqribaihi. So it was basically af'ila'u, on the pattern of af'ila'u, which is originally mamnu min as-sarf, but when it is used as mudaf, then it accepts kasra, as we can see over here. Similarly, fi dafatirikum, in your notebooks, dafatiru, mafa'ilu. So if it's mafa'ilu, it should not accept kasra. But here it has accepted kasra. Why is that?
Kum is mudaf ilayh, and this
Excellent, ahsanti. So the father is mudaf. So when it is used, a noun which is mamnu min as-sarf, when it is used as mudaf, then it can accept kasra, as we can see here. Min ahsani tullabi, the best of the students. Also, it is being used as mudaf. Okay, so that's why it has accepted kasra. لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم. أحسنتي. Then we have al-majruru bisababi تحليته بالألف واللام. A noun that is decorated with alif and lam.
Yeah.
في هذه الدفاتر. الدفاتر is on the pattern of مفاعل. مفاعل, but because it has al with that, that's why it has accepted kasra. لهذه المسائل, in these affairs or issues also, مسائل is on the pattern of مفاعل أحسنتي, but it has accepted kasra because it is decorated with al. في اليتامى, here it is basically al-yatama, it is still yani it is mahall majroor because we can't really put fatha or kasra on alif maqsura that refuses to accept kasra, as we know. So that's why we will say that this is majroor bil kasra, but as they say lit ta'adhur yani, but there is the reason is why we can't see that because it ends with alif maqsura. Ahadul kawakibi, kawakibu, mafa'ilu. And we know ahad is used as mudaf, and al-kawakib is mudaf ilayh, it is majroor, and it has accepted kasra, yeah, because it is mahalla bil al. Okay. One more exercise, inshallah, and then we will complete our lesson. Ayyan al-mamnu'a min as-sarfi fi ma ya'ti. Now we have to point out mamnu' min as-sarf in the following sentences. وَاذْكُرْ السَّبَبَ مَنْعِهِ, and then we have to mention the reason why it is mamnu' min as-sarf. وَإِذَا جُرَّ بِالْكَسْرِ, and if it is given kasra or when it is majroor jar with kasra, فَاذْكُرْ سَبَبَ ذَلِكَ, then we have to mention the reason of that as well. All right. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ.
Ahkami.
Ahkami.
Because of
All
B.
right.
And it's
All right. Because it is used as mudaf, right? Yeah, okay. So that's why it has accepted kasra. So it is basically on the pattern of af'alu, ahkamu, right? But it has accepted kasra because it is being used as mudaf. Bi ahkamil hakimin. Excellent. Wa hullu asawira min fiddah. Hullu. Yes. No, I mean, this the verb here. We will, of course, sorry, we have to focus on asawira. So it was asawiru because it is on the pattern of mafa'ilu. Yes, yeah, mafa'ilu. So that's why it is mamnu min as-sarf. And it is mansub over here because it is maf'ul bihi. Wa hullu asawira min fiddatin. So hullu, that's the noun, the verb that we were discussing earlier, that halla yuhalli tahliyatan. And then when it is used as passive, then it will be hulliya. So hulliya, hulliya, hullu. And this is, as we can see over here, and they will be adorned with bracelets of silver. So this is from the translation, it is confirmed that it is used as passive verb. And inshallah, that's the peak of your like learning of Arabic language. If you are able to figure out this pattern, that means inshallah we are successful. Not like we can't say we have mastered Arabic language, but at least we are able to figure out how it is used in the Quran, right? Because we know Arabic language is mashallah very rich, and we can't really say that after doing this course we have known everything, but alhamdulillah, at least we are able to understand the Quran, and we are able to figure out if it is used as passive or active, and if it is present or past, right? فلا أقسم برب المشارق والمغارب. Yes. مشارق مغارب. Yeah, but because it has al, that's why it has accepted tanween. Sorry, kasra. But here, asawir, why there is no kasra over here?
Where is that?
وَحُلُّ asawira, right?
Because it's mansub, no.
Ahsanti, because it's maful bihi, right? So there is no need to put kasra, because we put kasra for two reasons: when it is being used as mudaf ilayh, or when there is harf jar before it. But here it is mamnu min as-sarf, it does not accept tanween. However, it is mansub, and we know that mansub noun will be mansub bil fatha, as we can see here. لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. Sukara, excellent. And here it is on the pattern of fa'ala, it's also mamnu min as-sarf, and also we can say that it ends with alif maqsura, and we know that when the alif noun ends with alif maqsura, then the ending is hidden. It is like we can say that there is here it is marfu. So wa antum, what kind of vow is this?
while, that is
Wow, wow, al-hal. Perfect. Excellent. Okay. And the last one, أم كنتم شهداء إذ حضر يعقوب الموت.
Yaqub.
Okay, Yaqub. All right. And also shuhada'a. Shuhada'a. Shuhada'a is mansub because it is
Because it's
kana. We know there is ismu kana and khabaru kana. Yes. So this is khabaru kana.
Kana.
Excellent. And here also we need to notice something very beautiful over here. Here al-maut is marfu and Yaqub is mansub. Here taqdeemu, we can see maf'ul bihi ala al-fa'il. So what happened over here? Here we can see that the maf'ul bihi has come ahead of fa'il. And why does that happen?
For emphasis.
Ahsanti, for the purpose of emphasis. Yeah, it's very rare, but if you see some construction like this in the Quran, it's very rare, but you can see over here that now inshallah you see the small things that we notice down. These are not small things, these are big things, but now if we pay a little bit more attention, we can see that hadara is the verb.
Yeah, hadara al-maut or
Yaquba. Yeah, it's basically hadara al-mautu Yaquba, right? So hadara is fail, al-mautu is fa'il, and Yaqub, as we say, Yaqub alayhi salam is maf'ul bihi. But then you can see that the maf'ul bihi has come ahead of the death, the fa'il, just to emphasize that the death came to Yaqub alayhi salam. So we can see over here that it is taqdeemu maf'ul bihi ala fa'il. So these are the small things, not the small things, I mean the beautiful things, that delicate things that we need to focus on so that we can relate and understand more deeply, like how it happened and why it happened and what will be the change in the meaning. The meaning will be the same, but now it becomes more emphatic. Am kuntum shuhada'a. So shuhada'u is on the pattern of fa'ala'u, mamnu min as-sarf. And similarly, Yaqubu is the name of the prophet and it's non-Arabic name. That's why it is also mamnu min as-sarf. Hadra maut and hadar al-maut. So I explained in the previous lesson as well. There is a difference between, because Hadra Maut, Dad is Sakin, and that's the name of a place in Yemen. Yeah, but this is Hadar al-Mautu, that means when death approaches someone. So Alhamdulillah, our lesson is complete, and inshallah, in the next lesson, we will complete the rest of the exercises, and inshallah, hopefully, we will complete our course as well. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خيرا.
وإياكم وبارك الله فيكم.